The Michigan Wedding Podcast is brought to you by RDS Films and Michaels Entertainment. Welcome to the Michigan Wedding Podcast, designed for engaged couples curious to learn more about the people that make up the Michigan wedding industry on a deeper and more personal level. Today, we're at Grow Studios, thanks to Dan Nichols, who hooked us up. Appreciate you, my friend. Of course, we're here with the Michigan Wedding Podcast team, Rocky and Richard.
Hey, guys.
What's up, guys?
And also very excited to hang out with my good friend, Autumn of Athornsphoto.
Hello.
So, yeah, it's been a long time coming. We've been talking about doing this like during
years.
Yeah, like during the dinners before the dance party starts. We're like having such great conversations, and we're like, wow, this could be a podcast.
Yeah.
And now it's happening. So.
Our dinner heart to hearts at wedding days.
Absolutely, with good old Nick and the gang. So thanks for tuning in today. We've got an exciting conversation to have with Autumn, and later on we're going to bring Dan at the very end to talk a little bit about some exciting projects he's working on as well. But first, how about we open up with some tips of the day?
Hey, guys. Yeah, so it's Rocky with RDS Films, RDS_films on Instagram, RDSfilms.com. Thanks for having me today, guys. It's always a pleasure working with you on this podcast. Super excited. My tip of the day for those bride and grooms out there is ask your videographer about audio, right? How are they going to get audio through the course of the day? Do they have lav mics? Are they going to plug into the DJ board for the reception to get the toast? Are they going to mic up the groom? Are they going to mic up the priest or whoever's doing your ceremony? So I think those are really important questions to ask, because sometimes you look at the price and you're like, man, why is this really expensive? And sometimes that price point has to do with the quality of that audio and the audio tools that team might bring to that specific wedding. So pick the brain, ask what they're doing, see what they're doing, have them show you examples of what it sounds like for a ceremony example, what it sounds like for the groom to exchange vows, exchange rings, and then same with the reception for toasts. Ask to see an example of what it's like when your best man or the maid of honor is giving a toast. What does it look like and what does it sound like? So that's my tip of the day. Check your audio.
Nice.
I love it.
Good one.
Really good advice.
Really good advice. Really good advice.
Yeah. I think sometimes people don't realize how important audio
Actually
is. And
Definitely.
But think about the B movies with like bad audio, how fast we change the channel.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
I mean, think about like even like for me, I'll watch like some YouTubers, and if they have bad audio, I'm kind of moving on quicker than somebody that maybe has a lapel mic set up,
Right.
you know, because
Sure.
it's annoying at that point. You don't want to pay attention. So
And the big thing for me with, I guess, for videographers when I work with them, having them plug in directly to our board, I found works the best.
Yeah.
Audio quality.
It gives them control too, because they got their own little knob.
Exactly.
They can control the levels.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep, and that's a great tip for videographers out there too. You know, communicate with these DJs and bands. You know, you might think there's a 16-piece band and it's kind of overwhelming and you don't know who to talk to, but just ask. You know, I always I'll walk up to whoever's getting set up and say, hey, who's in charge of sound today?
Yeah.
And next thing you know, they're pointing me to Mike or Doug or whoever's doing sound, and now that guy's my best friend. I'm figuring out a way to get audio from him. And of course, there's guys out there that are going to be stressed and they're not going to want to deal with videographers. And some people don't deal with videographers at all because we're just not hired at all these weddings. So you have to work through that, and you have to figure out, you have to problem solve and get audio that day.
Have you ever had anybody give you grief about getting a sound
Yeah,
feed?
it happens all the time. And I think the big thing, and you guys can steal this from me, is I don't think the bride and groom are going to be too happy to know that the band or the DJ didn't want to give me audio. And sometimes it's like a logistical issue, right? Like the DJ physically might not have the output. And so that comes down to making sure your DJ has the right equipment when you book it before. That all comes together. So if there's a will, there's a way. Just communicate. If you can't go out of the soundboard, you can patch out of a speaker. And obviously that's not the best way or our favorite way, but that's a way to get some decent, clean audio to use for your edit later for the bride and groom to enjoy their reception, their ceremony, So it's really important, audio.
Yeah.
Really good tip.
Thanks, Rocky.
Really
Yes,
good.
sir. Thank you.
man.
So what you got, Richard?
Yeah, so today's tip of the day is about the anniversary dance. So if you're not familiar with what that is, a beautiful part of the reception, essentially, where your DJ will invite all the married couples out to the dance floor and play a nice classic slow song, right? Now, the real fun begins when we find out who the most experienced couple is at the wedding. Now, as it progresses, your DJ will say something along the lines of, well, friends and family, if you've been married now for 5 or more years, keep on dancing. 10 or more years, keep on dancing. So on and so forth, where you'll get to the point where you have the longest married couple out there with the shortest married couple. So usually grandma and grandpa or an older couple in the family. Now, the tip of the day, should you do the anniversary dance? Well, that depends. If you are a couple that has a pretty sizable guest list, so I would say 100 or more probably, and you have a deep amount of people in your family that, or your friends that are married, and you have, I would say, longer marriages in your family, the anniversary dance might be a good fit for you. That way you can have a super beautiful moment, which I'm sure you've captured a lot of the couple, dancing out there, and then the longest married couple, grandma and grandpa, something like that, dancing out there as well. Makes for a beautiful photo moment, obviously a beautiful video moment as well. So that's our tip of the day.
Nice tip, Richard. I
Thanks,
love that.
brother.
Yeah.
And honestly, as a videographer, I'm sure you can attest to this as a photographer, it creates an awesome moment for you. And sometimes the anniversary dance attracts the couples that probably won't dance because they're usually the older couples and this is their time to shine.
Exactly.
And so, and I make a mental note, and I know photographers make mental note, they go snag those photos real fast because Uncle Susie or Uncle Joe and Aunt Susie might be leaving right after that or whatever because, it's getting late. So provides a great opportunity for photos and video.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool.
Beautiful.
Thanks, Richard.
Of course, man.
Well, let's jump into it, Autumn. Thanks again for being here.
Thanks for having me.
How have you been doing?
I've been doing really well. How have you guys been?
Really good, thanks.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you about how it all started. Like, when did you take your first photo?
I was about 13 years old, and I started taking photos of nature. And I was like, I'm never going to take pictures of people. I'm only going to take pictures of nature and sunsets and animals. And
Did you watch a lot of Discovery Channel when you were a kid? Or?
I was just really moved by, maybe it comes with the name Autumn Thornsberry.
Oh, there you go.
I don't know. But then a couple months after getting my first camera, my mom got me my very first camera for Christmas. So I was 13. A couple months later, someone asked me to do their senior photos, and I was like, let's try it. I was in love with it.
So you were 13 when you did your
Yes.
first senior photos?
Yes.
Wow.
It was a friend of mine, a friend of a friend, and we went to Ann Arbor, and we explored all the cool alleys and buildings, and I left, and I was like, this is what I want to do forever.
So you knew the first gig, so to speak, that this was your thing.
Yeah, I was instant, I couldn't explain it. And it's funny because at the time there wasn't the editing software that there is now. I don't even think I edited those photos. I really think it was just right out of the camera, and I was like, yeah, this is it. And then over the years, I was 15 when I got asked to shoot my first wedding. And
That's young.
Real young.
That was very young looking back. And all throughout high school, I would do all of the upperclassmen senior photos, and it just throughout college, I would go to school and come home on the weekends and do weddings to pay for college, and it's just always been integrated.
What were you going to college for?
I was going to become a physician assistant, so I was going for medicine, which I really just wanted to get into something that I could serve people. I love working with people, serving people, and so I was like, well, I loved being a waitress too, so I was like, if I can do something like that.
I did that for a while.
and
That's good practice for the wedding industry.
Yes,
It really was.
Definitely. And so I just wanted to do something. I liked medicine. I also liked a little bit of science, and so I was going for physician assistant. When I graduated, I was paying for medical school applications or PA school applications, and so I was doing weddings to pay for the applications, and then you have to wait a while to find out if you get in or not. And so I had all this couple of months with nothing, and so I licensed my business, and then I was like, this is what I've always wanted to do.
Wow.
So and then now I'm here.
So in a way, the financial pressure of having to apply for all those medical schools motivated you to build your business to pay for it. And then you turned around and realized, wait, why am I going to school for something else? This is what I love.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I was always like, art can't pay the bills. I didn't know anybody that owned a business.
A lot of people told us that growing up, didn't they?
I was like, I don't know how you just start a business. You see restaurants and stuff, and you're like, I didn't know a one-person business. I just didn't really think of it, and I started looking into it when I graduated. So I graduated in 2017 with my bachelor's, and that week I got home, and I was like, I want to license this. I want to do this. And so essentially when every door shut, I was stuck in this hallway, and that's when the thing I've always wanted since I was little. It came true. So if your dreams aren't scaring you, they aren't big enough.
I love that.
That's pretty much, yep.
Well, thanks for sharing that.
Of course.
And speaking of doors shutting, what are some of the biggest challenges that you had to overcome to establish your business?
I think, I feel like there was quite a few different challenges. So a lot of it was figuring things out, like the legality of LLCs and business bank accounts and lawyers and contracts, and that can seem really daunting. Also, just always questioning, is this where I'm meant to be? Is this what I'm meant to be doing? I love it. I'm so passionate about it, but, just kind of have it, once you get to that peace of mind, like, this is where I'm meant to be, that was like the biggest challenge for me. But honestly, as soon as I got my business license in the mail and I had my first weddings under Athornsphoto, I was like, this is it. So yeah, I don't know. I think there's been a couple different challenges, but that's definitely knowing you're in the right place at the right time and like having peace about that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Who were some of your biggest role models growing up?
It's funny. I don't feel like I have one set role model. I'm very inspired by the people I'm surrounded with. So I think about when you're in high school, you have different semesters and different friends based on those semesters. That's how I feel like my whole life has been. I'm really inspired by whoever's in that season of life with me at that time.
Were there any specific photographers that you've looked up to over the years?
I'm a really big fan of, her name is India Earle. She is an educator and photographer in, I believe, Utah. I really, I connect with her story a lot, and her education courses are really good. A lot of the photographers in the Detroit community I think we have one of the best communities in Detroit, truly. Everyone is so close with each other, and they're like, there's enough room at the table for everybody, and everybody just goes and gets coffee with each other and it refers to each other. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, Detroit is definitely a great wedding industry community.
Super close-knit, like you were saying.
Even between competition.
Yeah.
It's like, because I think everybody realizes that
we're one big family.
Right.
And there's enough out there for everybody.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yep. And there's the Facebook groups that I'm sure that we're all in.
Oh, yeah.
And I've been in other markets and I've worked in other markets. Those really don't exist in those markets. So from a bride and groom standpoint, I think that should make you feel really good that, our direct competitors we're really friendly with, and we try to boost each other up. And I think that's really nice.
It's not a cutthroat industry
Exactly.
at all.
Yeah.
Like, I've heard about some other industries that have steeped in. I've heard like things they do to each other. I'm like, we have coffee together. we have adult beverages together. We go fouling.
we had I think it was Derek that threw that where was it at? I'm blanking. Packard Proving Grounds.
Derek Hall, he threw a big.
No, not Derek Hall. Derek Cookson, I think.
Oh, Derek Hall did one with.
He did the DJing
okay.
with the other Derek we're talking about, but that was a great example of how somebody in the industry took the initiative to bring everybody together just to hang out, and that was a lot of fun. You know?
It was a blast. I remember that day fondly. So, talking more about your photographic style.
Yes.
You have a very distinct style.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. How did you cultivate that, and how would you describe that?
There's a lot of different styles in the photo world, in any community. There's a lot of different approaches, and I look up to so many different types of, I appreciate so many different types of style, but I found my style just from getting out there and shooting. So doing photo shoots, I would come home and edit, and naturally I gravitated to a true to color, but kind of richer toned. I like my photos to be very romantic and intimate, kind of like a hint of like a mood to them. I'm really big about light. My light source is a huge thing to me. So I like shooting during golden hour and sunrise. And so yeah, that's pretty much my style, just kind of cultivated over the years from doing so many sessions and then realizing what I love most.
That's cool. So like, is there a specific shot that you like to try to get at most weddings? Kind of like...
One shot I always try to get at most weddings, so I'm really big about movement, so I like to just not have to direct the couple very much, unless they need it, but for the most part I like to let them like go in this area for a minute and just talk with each other. A lot of couples don't get that alone time during their wedding day, so I like to just give them some alone time.
Oh, wow.
But one of my favorite shots to get is actually your traditional smiling at the camera, the photo that, you know, I think sometimes can get overlooked in all the candids and the movement of the day. I like to get one for like grandma's wall or, you know, for mom and dad's wall, just a nice pretty portrait. I also just want to capture, I really try to talk with my couples beforehand and get a feel for the relationship. Are they more silly, more adventurous? Are they more camera shy? And I try to get a picture that cultivates something that captures this season of life for them. So whether it's how they greet each other when they come home from a long day or some like sort of inside joke between them, I like to capture something that's like, this is us. And it's unlike any other photo, you know? So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I guess the follow-up question would be when it comes to your editing, because that's a big part of it too.
Yes.
I feel like every time I talk to you, I'm like, what's up? You're like, oh, I'm just editing. It's like
Always.
Same thing with Rocky. But
Yep.
Yeah, it never ends.
Always.
yeah. Where you at, bud? Oh, editing chair, you know, on the throne,
Editing.
you know.
All the time.
So how does your editing, how do you think about your editing and how do you describe it to your customers?
I describe it as I like to keep things true to color. So if you have a blue suit on your wedding day, your suit's going to be blue in your photos. Like I like to keep it true, but I have a little bit of a darker style.
Yeah.
I guess like
That's
I like
that moody
yes,
kind of, but in like a
moody
really
and intimate.
Yeah.
I like my photos to have like an ambiance to them.
Yeah, tomato.
Yeah, right. So it's like when you walk into a room and there's like candles lit and really pretty lighting, and I want my photos to feel like that. I want them to feel comforting, and I want people to be comfortable with them. I don't know. I just that's pretty much my editing style, just rich. I like a warm glow to people too. I like to have really healthy looking skin tones and the sunshine and whatever my scenery is, but I like the photos to have a warmth to them and a glow to them, and yeah.
You can see that, especially you can see it. A lot of people saw it on Our Magazine,
Yes.
Our Detroit.
Yes.
That's HOUR, and Channel 4 you were on too, right?
Yeah.
So
I've had some exciting moments since opening.
a local celebrity photographer over here, you know.
But this is my first podcast.
Hey. Woo woo.
It's official.
We got her first, podcast world.
Oh, I'm honored.
I'm sure many more to come. You know,
I would be.
You're doing great.
Thank you.
It's just nice to hang out
Yeah.
and talk with friends, you know. And
Definitely.
it's all we need now is a little bit of rice and fancy chicken, and my favorite is like at the Colony Club, they've got the lemons wedges that are cut in half, wrapped in the yellow little canvas. I don't really know what it is, but you squeeze it and it keeps the seeds from coming out. And I love lemon in my food,
yep.
so I'm like, Colony Club, you guys are brilliant.
That's genius.
Cheers to you.
It's the little things.
Yeah, it's the lemon bags.
Let's actually talk about this for a second.
Yes.
So speaking of venues, I guess photography-wise, what's one of your favorite places to shoot aesthetically, I guess?
Do you want like venues in Michigan or?
Let's do venues in Michigan.
All
Let's
right.
do that.
So I'm a big fan of, I really like the Eastern Market. Love the Eastern. There's a kind of newer venue, I believe it's called Black Barn. It's
We were talking
in
about that yesterday.
Jackson. Love it. It just has so much character with nature. I'm a big fan of shooting open spaces, nature-esque places.
That big tree in the back where the ceremony
Yes,
is.
I love it.
That's like one of my, aesthetically, that's one of the most beautiful ceremony spots.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's in the middle of a wine
Yeah.
vineyard. I mean, as a DJ, it's a pain because you got to run like 300 feet of power cable to the nearest thing.
Yep.
But hey, that's why we come prepared. But
Absolutely. They also have goats, which
yeah,
love. But yeah, I like venues that offer a lot of
goats.
goats. Absolutely.
Yeah, me too.
A lot of goats and a lot of different things to use. So Black Barn has an indoor place. For as a photographer, as a videographer, you think of what can I utilize, because you don't know what's going to happen on the wedding day. So is it
Yeah.
going to rain? Is it going to snow?
Especially in
You know?
Michigan.
Right, absolutely. So, indoor spaces or, using the water areas. They have the the vineyards, stuff like that. I really like Henry Ford Museum too.
Yeah,
I love that.
It's
place.
a fun place.
That's where we met. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's so
Aw.
cute.
One of our first jobs.
That's cute.
Yeah. I was a docent. But anyway, yeah. But Henry Ford's great though.
I love
yeah.
it. That's a good example of a venue that has so much to work with.
Oh, yeah.
Every time you go in, it looks unlike the last one, and
Yeah.
guest experience. They get
they
to just
love it.
explore and the high ceilings, and I love Henry Ford. I think that's another. I have a lot of favorites. I love
That's a
them all.
testament to Michigan venues.
Yes.
Right, exactly.
We have awesome venues here.
We really do.
We do.
Lucky.
We have a lot of character because you have the cities, and then you have the nature, and you drive a little bit further, you're on Lake Michigan.
Oh, yeah.
You go up north, you're in Marquette. That's a whole. It looks like mountains and waves, and yeah,
And
Michigan's
I feel like,
great.
yeah, and every community has another like sweet venue. Like
Right.
Yeah, I mean, look at Holly Vault is a good example. It's kind of
Oh,
popped
I
up
love
the past
that
couple
place.
years.
for
Yeah.
smaller weddings, like
Yeah.
the
And
one
it's
we
fit-
did.
Yeah, and the Holly Vault is beautiful. What a
It
cool
is.
Yeah.
place. And they let you into the vault in the basement for photos,
Yeah.
which is really cool.
They have a lot of character.
Mm-hmm.
The all-white chapel. They have the string lights at night.
Yep.
That's what I love about venues is they offer a little bit of just so much different. Like you have a little bit of nature. You have a mural. You have lights. It helps for a photo standpoint and guest experience. That's what I look for with venues. But
Yep.
Where's your dream destination to shoot a wedding?
my dream destination to shoot a wedding is either Iceland
Ooh.
or Switzerland.
Switzerland would be nice.
I would
That'd be
love.
Oh man, Switzerland. I was looking at some TikTok nature videos this morning
TikTok,
as I was drinking my
yes.
coffee. I'm like,
Yes.
what? You guys just to wake up in the morning and look at this?
Right.
It's a fjord, like mountains and
Right.
Oh,
Also,
my goodness.
goats. Lots of.
Lots of goats. You love the
I
goats.
I don't know
can't
why
em-
this is a theme.
I can't emphasize enough the goats. I really can't.
I love it. Yeah, Switzerland would be a dream.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
We did, speaking of venues, I think the last wedding we did actually was the venue didn't work out.
Yes.
So they ended up doing it in the backyard.
Yeah.
Tommy and
Stevie
Yeah,
and
that was a
Tommy,
fun
I
wedding.
love them.
Yeah, Richard DJ'd that one.
Yeah.
And
Real fun wedding.
Yep. Yes, I loved that one. Stevie and Tommy are a great example of a couple because they were rolling with the punches. So Stevie
Oh,
and
yeah.
Tommy were very detail oriented, but they also were like, we're just here to celebrate.
And
they
it's a
didn't
good
let
thing
anything
because-
rain on their parade.
Right, and they were so cool the whole time.
Absolutely.
It was awesome.
I-
Even like, we had a few hiccups like the day of.
Well, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's actually kind of like a really wild story.
Yeah.
We were, I think they moved it to a Thursday, I believe.
And was it a Saturday?
It was a Saturday originally. They moved it to a
Yes.
Thursday.
Yep.
And the venue was, I forget the venue.
I forget, but
It was-
but Richard was booked as the DJ, and did you know Stevie from the past or
No, I think we
Autumn sent her
Pretty
our
sure
way?
she-
Yeah,
and
I
then-
grew up with
Yes.
Stevie.
Okay, that's right. So yeah, and so you were DJing it, and we're like, oh, and they had photo booth too, and we're like, oh, who's gonna run photo booth? And I'm like, I'll run photo booth, which I had never done. We've been doing photo booth for years, but we've always, we have a team that does it.
Yep.
You teach the team, and they do it. But this
Yeah.
time I was like, I'm gonna be the photo booth guy for a change. It was split. So the day started off in the backyard of the best man
Yep.
with the cocktail hour and the reception. And then the plan was that evening, I won't mention any names, but there was a bar in downtown Plymouth
Yep.
where the party was going to be, the
Yeah.
dance party.
Yeah.
And earlier I get a call,
It was during dinner.
yeah, we're literally in line for some food.
Yeah.
And Richard, who was supposed to be setting up at the reception,
Yeah.
the dance party area, he calls me up. He's like, "Hey, Seth, they shut it down. They closed it." So I go up to the bride and I'm like, "Hey, you're
Yes.
So we ended up I ended up pounding the phone and finding another hall.
Yeah.
It was the Plymouth Rock that
Yeah.
saved the day.
Yes.
And I called Richard up and said, "Go there." And the bride and groom are like, "Cool, whatever works."
Yeah.
So we ended up getting a last minute venue.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Richard rocked the dance party. Everybody
yeah.
showed up.
Yeah.
That was
They
fun.
danced all night. And
It was awesome. And Stevie had every right to just freak out or turn into
and she
Bridezilla.
didn't.
And she
She
didn't.
didn't.
She was like, you know what? We'll just go with it.
yeah.
Yeah, I loved
She's,
it.
yeah.
And she didn't let it ruin her day at all, and it didn't. And then it ended up being an even sweeter celebration.
Right.
It was awesome.
Honestly, it was a bigger space. Richard was up on a stage. So honestly, I think
yeah.
it was better than.
Yeah.
And the bar was happy because they're like, yeah, now our place is packed.
Right. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
What a great memory.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
So, how has your company grown? Because I guess before I ask this, my first gig with you was quite a few years back.
Yes.
I think it was the Jam Handy, or was it Rachel Soulier and Matt over at when was our first gig?
Our first one was I cannot think of. It's the venue with the blue ceiling, and there's like galaxies. It was our first meet. That was the first time I ever met you.
The galaxies in the ceiling.
It's like a Grecian banquet
Oh,
hall.
is the one in Westland the Hellenic Cultural Center?
It might be, but it was my very first few months of shooting. I was second shooting for Nick Niduk of Photo, and I met you, and both of us were like, this is a good team.
Yeah, we're buds now.
And then I creepily was like, well, I'm just going to send you to everybody because I'm a big, like, I want everyone to be on a team.
You sent us so much work, it was insane.
Then that whole year, we just shot a bunch of weddings. So that was, I think, 2017 when we met in passing.
And you were only like 20, you were in your early 20s then, right?
So right now I'm 25. I was 21. It was right when I graduated with my degree, opened my business like the next day.
Oh, so that was right when it started.
Yep,
and
I met you like a month later. Yeah.
It's crazy to think how young you are and how new you are to the business, and yet how much you've achieved in this short time.
Thank you.
I mean, I guess it helps when you start when you're 13.
Yeah, yes. It was, that's a good example of one of those things where you are like, am I in the right place? And there have been a lot of things that, from even being like, hey, I'm going to do weddings full time, and just booking up that first year, that was like, this is what I was meant to be doing. Like, it's just, you have little signs like that, or, you have a lot of peace about it after having, I don't know, there's like little reminders throughout. You'll have something on your bucket list and you'll get an inquiry for it. I had a dream of shooting a wedding in the mountains of Washington, and then we booked one, and I was like, this is where I'm meant to be.
Yeah.
Like, just little things like that. But yeah, so we met in 2017.
And how has your company grown since then? I guess, and interpret that question however you want. How has it grown?
It's interesting because photo companies, everyone's different, but I don't have a studio. Everything is like in my home office. Everything's in my home.
Well, you're at different venues. Your business is
and so
out there.
I haven't grown like in a physical standpoint or employee wise. Like, it's just me, and then I partner with different people, second shooters, or I'll second shoot for people. But I think in numbers, I think booking wise, like, I've been able to before it was people book because like, oh, you know how to work a camera, and now it's grown where people are like, I want this style. Like, I have people who are like, I've been following you since I've been single, and I want to book you now because I'm engaged, and that makes me literally cry. The people that I've grown, I guess, in support wise, that's like the biggest. I guess that's the best way to answer that.
Yeah, that is the great.
You're almost building a fan base in a way.
I guess so.
You're too humble to say it that way, but we'll say it that way.
I'm really, really big about, I don't want to feel like a vendor to my clients at all, because photo is like the one person you spend like the whole day with as a couple. I'm with them. I'm usually the second they book in command. So like, there's the venue, and then photos usually second. I'm a part of the timeline planning. I'm a part of connecting with them with vendors. I'm a part of the engagement section.
And they really trust your word. I found like a referral from you is really worth its weight in gold, because people, whenever they hit it, oh yeah, Autumn, and like, even if you were booked and you couldn't even do it, they like, it's bummer, because I'm like, oh, I wish we could do this with Autumn. But it's really impressive how influential you are with the people that come in contact with you, straight up.
I'm really big about, I'm a creative at heart. I'm not a salesperson. I'm not a business person at heart. I'm a creative person.
It just comes naturally to you because of because of that.
I really try. I want people to come to me and they trust me. And, they spend the whole day with me. They spend more time with me than even their parents on their wedding day. Like, I want them to be comfortable with me. I want to be able to get them comfortable to evoke that emotion with me and be able to say, plus timelines. Wedding days can be so chaotic and things can run late and go early. And I need to be able to be like, all right, let's go here, let's go there. And I want people to be comfortable and I want them to be able to speak up. And I'm really big about, I never want them to feel like I'm pushing a product. I want them to feel like this is my friend, and like I cry at every single wedding, whether it's the dad and daughter dance or the first look.
we've cried. I remember one time. I remember times crying, and I look over at you, and you're crying, and I'm like, all right. Look over at Richard, and he's crying, and I'm like, man, 1,000 weddings. It doesn't matter how many you do. It's just.
Yeah.
So certain things will just get you.
Right. You're more than a vendor. You're, sometimes I'm the 6th bridesmaid. Sometimes I'm helping button up the dress. Sometimes I'm doing the boutonnieres. Like, it's so much more. They're hiring me for so much more than just to take a picture.
Take a photo.
Yep. So, yeah.
And like you said, comfort is such a big deal because no matter how fancy your suit is and how beautiful your dress is, if there's anxiety in your face because you're not comfortable with the people you're around or your photographer's barking at you as opposed to guiding you in a pleasant way, then it doesn't matter how beautiful everything is. If you got anxiety in your face, it's going to show.
Yeah, it's really important too. I have my most common phrase I hear is either from the groom. Most of the times it's from the groom, and he's like, "I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous. I hate getting my picture taken, and I really have to meet him where he is." Or sometimes it's both of them or whatever. But you really have to meet them where they are and get them comfortable. And some couples love the camera and they'll just fire off poses and they're just eating it up, and I love it. I don't even have to say anything. And then there's some couples who they don't love a ton of PDA. They just want to capture them getting a drink at the bar. And so we'll go, I'm like, show me your first date. Show me your favorite date. If it's staying at home in your pajamas eating pizza, we'll do your session there. Like, let's bring pizza to the wedding.
Wear your best pajamas, though. I have to insist on that.
Right.
Not the holy ones from way back,
Exactly. But yeah.
That's cool.
I think COVID's kind of shown us those porch sessions, which I'm sure maybe you're getting more of. I've seen a lot of photographers in the area doing what they call porch sessions, and it's just the family hanging out on the porch, and you're just capturing it as is. Nothing more than that, but you get these really beautiful moments, and I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think definitely with the pandemic, people appreciate everything so much more because so much is on pause. And I think even when it comes to celebrating, I think weddings, people the next time that, weddings are full capacity and things are, running up again, I think people are going to dance a little harder, drink a little more. I think people are ready to celebrate, and they're going to appreciate it so much more now.
Definitely.
And not that they didn't before, but I think just in every regard,
and I think
we appreciate it.
We will too, honestly.
Yes.
I know I will.
Yes.
Yeah. I will.
And someone should write a country song just saying what you just said. You know what I mean? I just hear a really good country song, post-pandemic weddings. Dance a little harder,
Maybe that's my next career avenue.
Yeah, country songwriter.
TikTok star or country writer.
Are you on TikTok now as well?
I don't use it. I use but for behind the scenes. I think TikTok is a great app. I learn so much from recipes to taxes to TikTok is. I love it.
It's the best. Me too.
But yeah.
What's the biggest lesson that you've learned in your wedding photography career?
The biggest lesson from photography, I would say, is that comparison is a thief of joy.
Ooh.
That's my favorite lesson, I think. The market in Detroit and in general, there's so many. There's room for everybody. How this person does it versus how this person does it versus how you do it is unlike any other. And your couples book with you because of something you have that others don't. And I think that when things are saturated, it's so easy to pay attention to what this person's releasing and what this person is doing, and you compare yourself to how many sessions have they booked, or what does their editing look like, or this is a really cool idea, I wish I thought of it. There's so much, and you have to focus on yourself and not compare yourself to others, because you belong here just as much as anyone else. If you have passion, if you care about it, you have a seat at the table, and you can't compare yourself to. There's there's a line between inspiration and comparison, and comparison will hurt you, where inspiration will help you grow. So that's probably my biggest lesson.
That's really good.
Awesome.
Thank you.
What other types of photography I mean, you mentioned before that you started off with nature, you moved into senior photos.
Yep.
What are you doing these days besides weddings?
My other main thing is senior photos. I love senior photos.
And we're still talking about this high school seniors.
Yes,
Okay.
high school seniors. High school seniors are so cool. I'm going to go back to TikTok. I think Gen Z is just like, I wish I was a Gen Z.
Yeah.
They're so trendy. We have so much fun at their sessions. My seniors are like, I want to jump in the water and do my photos underwater. I want to go, do crazy things. And senior sessions. I also love music. I'm really big. I can't do anything musical, but I'm a big, I'm always at like local shows and concerts. And so sometimes if I'm really lucky, I'll message bands on Instagram and they'll let me take pictures at their shows, and that's been really exciting.
Really? I never heard about that.
Yeah, it's not anything that's like.
What performers have you done that for?
I don't know if there's any. Well, my dream person would be Ariana Grande, to be quite honest.
Ariana Grande, if you're listening.
Right. If you are on this podcast. Yeah.
Just, on that off chance.
Right. No, it's a lot of just random bands that.
Local, cool.
Yeah. And yeah.
Those are the best anyway.
Yep. Yeah. So, but yeah.
What advice would you have for couples who are looking for a photographer right now?
Ooh. To make sure you're comfortable with your photographer. That it all goes back to that. Like, see what style you like, but see if you connect. I really encouraged I used to do coffee meetings pre-pandemic. Now it's more Zoom calls and stuff. But having a phone call and just seeing if you really connect with that person and connect with the photographer. I would just say make sure you hit it off really well. That's a really, I think some people tend to price shop, which is okay. You should have a budget, but a lot of people look for this or that or style or, this is what my Pinterest board looks like and these photos match. And you really want to make sure you're comfortable because you want to, just have that dynamic.
Those things might matter, but don't overlook.
Yep.
Because, we had every now and then we have a sale come through for that, like once in a blue moon, where they literally, we send them, they email us, we send them the proposal, they book, and we're like, don't you want to talk on the phone? Or like, you're like, you feel kind of like is this real? And then the wedding turns out great, whatever. But I don't know if that would be the greatest idea, to do, because what if there is that comfort factor that you're missing out on?
Yeah.
I'd want to talk to the company, and
I've had referrals like that where they're just like, nope, this person said that you're the best and I want you. And I said, well, look, let me just go through the day like I normally would.
You're like, please let me.
let's just be on the same page here.
Yeah.
Right.
Which, I mean, that's a testament to your service if you have clients booking like that,
Yeah.
Yes.
But I honestly, I wish the trend would stop.
I prefer the phone call.
Back in the day, it was always meetings.
Yeah.
So, and as much as it's convenient for the Zoom and the phone calls, I'm not. And from a business perspective, it's very efficient. Because you don't have to drive an hour round trip and whatnot. The other day we met with someone, with all the different legal parameters, taken care of. Don't worry. PC, but and it was like so fulfilling. Like I was like, oh, I miss this.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Even though it took a 2-hour thing, by the time you figure it out.
It's fun seeing bride and grooms excited to plan something, and for me, it's more fun when they're trying to like pick my brain on. So what are you gonna do for the pre-ceremony? Where are you gonna be here? Like that's fun when they're challenging what I'm doing, because now we can engage a little bit more and cater to their day a little bit more too, what they want. So it's really nice when they engage like that.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
So you got a lot of cool stuff that you're working on right now. So let's talk about the Etsy shop. I noticed I was creeping on your Facebook before, and I was like, wow, you're doing some pretty artistic. Talk a little bit about that.
So the Etsy shop it's funny because I made a list when the pandemic started. I made a list of things, I wanted to do during quarantine.
With your extra time.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And so I was like, it's from like random projects I needed to get done to business ideas to new hobbies. So I started writing a lot. I started painting a lot. I'm really bad at like crafting,
Like,
but
are you talking about Bob Ross stuff?
like
or-
really trying, but it looks like a 3-year-old oftentimes, but like I have fun.
Happy little mistakes.
Right, exactly.
Right?
It's all, it's very expressive. Like I said, I'm a creative at heart, so I just like to, do anything I can. And I got an iPad, like an old refurbished iPad, and I just started doing some little drawings, and I started doing them based off of wedding photos that I've taken. And I was like, yeah, just like for fun. And then I like shared, just here's a craft I'm doing, and then people were like, oh, I really like these, can I buy one or can I use one? And I was like, oh, maybe you could use it for your guest book, or so then I was like, I'll just open a little shop. But
I'll just open up a little Etsy shop,
not
no
like-
big deal.
well, it's not anything like I'm like pushing, or it's just there, it's there, and if
Yeah.
someone wants to let me doodle, then there you go. It's
You're
just
like-
yeah,
That's really cool though.
Yeah, it's just something fun.
And I think that can be inspiring for people out there who,
Yeah.
you have that crazy idea.
Yeah.
Do it. What's
Yeah.
the worst that could happen?
Right.
The best that could
Yes.
happen is it could make you some money.
Right.
The worst that could happen is you could learn some stuff.
absolutely. Yeah.
Where are you gonna
Yeah.
lose here?
Yeah, I also think it's a big thing too, is I think we have ideas that things need to be perfect all the time. Like I need to be the best, and I need to be the this before I even like, I think about so many of my friends are like, I wish I played guitar. And it's like, well, play it. And it's like, well, I'm bad at it. And it's like, no, just keep playing it. Like have fun with it. And,
Exactly.
And I love them, but I sometimes get frustrated with that
That mindset.
that mindset,
Yeah.
because I used to have it, and I was frustrated with myself when I had
Yep.
it, and that idea of like, oh, I'm not good at it.
Yeah.
Well,
Of course not. It takes you time.
you think,
Yeah.
you think if you were good at it, if you were as good as an Olympic person at some activity like pole vaulting,
Yeah.
the first time you tried, then that would be an insult to the man who spent or
Years.
woman who
Right,
spent
right.
years, multiple hours a day. Like,
Yeah.
of course it's going to take time.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't have to be an Olympic doodler, if that's a thing.
Absolutely.
If it isn't, I wish it was.
Yeah, finished is better than perfect is
Yeah.
a good
Right.
motto that I've heard throughout the years, where I'm like, just do it, just have fun with it. And I also believe you don't have to monetize everything. Like
Yeah.
it's not so much that I was like, oh, I want to make money off of this. It was just more so I had a lot of people asking like, hey, can you do one for me? Can you do one for me? And I was like, yeah, sure. Let me
Yeah.
find a structure for it.
At a certain point, right.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just something fun, and I want when people come to my page, I'm really big on posting like Instagram stories and stuff. I don't want them to come to my page and feel like they're getting ads. I want them to be inspired. So whether
I
I'm
like that.
sharing, I don't know, social media is so informative, but it's also very draining, especially this year. And I want my little corner of the internet, whether it's my website or my Instagram, to be a little source of inspiration for people. So if
I
I'm
like that.
posting about my cats, or I'm posting like little drawings, I hope people see that and they're like, I want to do something. Like I
Yeah.
want to try a hobby, and and try to be more vulnerable and be like, listen, this is not, I show my failed attempts and I'm like, this is my progression. Go do something that you suck at. And
Yeah.
I don't know.
And we were talking about this with Rocky since we started. I mean, with this podcast, we're not going to be able to figure out all the different things that we need to get a 10 out of 10 on right now.
Yeah.
But as we do it more and more, okay, let's
Yes.
do this, let's do that,
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
it's just sometimes just little simple things, like the first one we did, we had the mic right here the whole time, and I looked at it and I was like, oh, that looks kind of funny, So
Yep.
now just simply doing this, and now it's like,
Yeah.
you'd go crazy if you
Yeah.
made
Trying to make it
yourself
perfect.
Yeah.
it's
It's
just
all about
impossible.
enjoying the process of it,
Absolutely.
Cliche, but it's true.
It's
And be okay with that bread trail
Yep.
that led to your eventual perfection or near perfection, because it's going to take a journey.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
We're planning on, our goal is 2 podcasts a month.
Yep.
And so you better believe our 24th of this year is going to be, production quality better than the first. And there's nothing to be ashamed of. And
Yep.
that's a metaphor for anything in life that you're trying to
Absolutely.
achieve,
Absolutely.
So speaking of new adventures and achievements and dreams, you've been working on a magazine,
Yes.
like a wedding magazine, for how long now?
I started it last January, so January 2020, I would
Okay.
say. And I was like, I'm going to release it in spring 2020. And what I found is, one, I love writing. I'm a better writer than I am a speaker. And so I really like writing. And also it goes back to, I want couples to be comfortable. And I've shot, we've done hundreds of weddings. So we know like what this might help this, or this is better for this. Our couples are planning their first wedding most likely, or this is the first wedding that they're a part of maybe, or little tips and just little pieces of information. So I wrote this this guide for anyone planning a wedding, more so for my couples, but it's like anyone could use it. And it's just a guide and a magazine on things from how to light your ceremony outdoors, pay attention to this time sunset so your guests aren't in the scorching heat, to brides wear matte lipstick for kissing photos, because if you're wearing red lipstick, it's gonna stain your groom's face, to have a hanger for your dress and stuff like that. So just really tiny things.
But huge.
But important.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is just something that I've learned. Girls that have button-up dresses, if you get a crochet hook, it buttons all the dresses up. And yeah, just really tiny things that I'm like, I would have never known that had I not shot my 10th wedding or my 20th wedding.
Right.
So I'm like, well, let me put it in a little magazine
That's
I
so
love
smart.
and give it to you.
I love that. All the small things a couple
Yeah.
most likely won't think of because they're dealing with tens of other things. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I think about also with you see wedding stuff on Instagram and Facebook and Pinterest, and you get so I want this and I want this and I want that, and all of my brides who are planning things, they'll text me and be like, this color, this color, this color, this color. I'm like, listen, that part isn't what you want to worry about. Where is this happening at, or how are you lighting this for photos? And yeah, so I hope from the eyes of a vendor it can help people.
When is what is the magazine going to be called?
It's just called Athornsphoto's Wedding Guide. It's like tips and
Oh,
tricks,
cool.
and it's not anything. It's something that's going to be released. So I have hard copies of it. The first shipment is coming in right now.
Can we have one?
You absolutely can have one because you guys are in it.
We're gonna put it on our
Yeah.
stack of knot and wedding wire magazines. You'll be right at the top.
I'm so honored. Yeah, I have that, and then there's also digital copies. I didn't know that I could do this, but who I published it through, they were like, oh, here's, you can do a digital download. So I think I'm going to find a way to link it on my website so people that are, want to share it to another engaged friend who might not necessarily be my couple, they can send it to them, and then they can,
Yeah.
I don't know what the future holds for it, but maybe 2022 I'll have a different updated version of it.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just, again, something that I was like, I like writing. I have things that could help someone. We'll see where it happens with it.
Yeah, and it's just one more way for your potential customers and clients to get to know you and, and determine if you're the fit for them.
Absolutely.
You're, the more information you give people, and like you said, even if you're booked for the date and they can't use you, too bad for them, but they can still use the guide that you're providing.
Absolutely.
So you're giving value to the marketplace. And
Yeah.
that's an awesome thing.
Well, thank you. I'm very excited.
What other goals do you have moving forward with your business? I guess professional or personal.
I have, honestly, it's funny because a lot of my friends in the industry are like, I want to get out of weddings, or maybe I want to do more commercial work or more this. I'm exactly where I love this. My goal is every year I hope to get maybe 2 travel or destination weddings, and then the rest stay in Michigan. And I think I'm kind of toying with the idea of maybe one day, maybe a little studio space just for my seniors, just to have another little space, not anything that would be like a storefront, but maybe just a space for me to have clients come and couples come to just get a variety. That's something. My biggest goal in life one day, which is not very feasible, is I'd love to have a place that's like a flower coffee shop that photographers, can take pictures, and we can keep stray cats there, and it's just this place of everything that I like. But that's not feasible, or probably even.
I don't know. It's an idea you just had.
You get flowers here, you can get coffee here, take pictures here. Maybe there will be, I don't know. Who knows?
Hey, it's a great idea.
Yeah, you have the idea. You can make it happen.
Yeah, well, in 10 years, you'll watch this podcast and you'll say, holy smokes.
It happened.
Here it is.
I'd come there for the plants and the cats.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
You're a sucker for plants and cats.
Oh, yeah. I love them.
Isn't there like a cat cafe in Hamtramck or something?
I
don't
think
know.
there is. Hamtramck or Hazel Park. It's one of those. But yes,
Hazel
you're
Park. I think you're right.
It's
Hazel
one of
Park,
those
Ferndale
things.
area.
Wow, I really do love cats. Okay.
I love them.
I'm going to sneeze just thinking about it. I love them, but I'm allergic, unfortunately.
How many cats do you have in autumn?
I have 2 cats. I feel like, every day that the pandemic, every month that the pandemic goes on, I'm like, well, I could get another cat. But I'm not trying to be like crazy cat lady.
2 is enough, Autumn.
2 is great. It's great. Yep.
No.
Yeah.
So, what's the best way for someone to reach out to you if they're interested?
Through my website. My website is the easiest. Instagram also works too.
We'll have links, so
Yeah, well, thanks.
easy peasy. And we'll put your magazine link up there too when that's done.
Thank you. You're so supportive. I
Oh,
appreciate it.
Hey, you're supportive too. We're all
Thank
we're all
you.
in this together, you know.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
You bet.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess as we're kind of wrapping up our time together,
Aw.
which is yeah. Say it isn't so. Do we have to?
I love it.
Double our time, Dan. No. Yeah. What else is on your mind? Anything else you'd like to share before we say goodbye?
I'd like to express a lot of gratitude.
I love that. Yes.
I would like to say thank you to anyone that's listening, but also to you guys for, inspiring people to do, podcasts and share information. And I'm also, really thankful for couples right now. This year has been challenging for so many different reasons and people, and my heart goes out to literally everybody, and I'm so thankful for my personal couples who have worked alongside my availability. Cancellations are, crippling small businesses, and small businesses really need the support right now. And I think that couples who are like, what's your availability? I need to postpone, but I want to work with you. And I'm just really, really thankful, because a year ago today, we started seeing all these scary things coming in, and it was like, this future is so uncertain. And now to be here, standing here a year and talking about things I've launched or things I've picked up, and I'm really thankful. So I'm just want to say thank you to anybody and everybody. But
That's beautiful.
Well, we're thankful for you, Autumn.
Thank
Oh,
you.
yeah.
If it was legal, I'd give you a big hug right now. But
Yep.
just 2 more weeks, guys. Well, thanks so much for taking the time
Thank
with
you.
us, and we'll hang out with you behind the scenes here in a little while. And right now, guys, I think we're gonna welcome Dan, if he's still down, to hang out with us a little bit.
Yeah, let's get
And,
Dan to switch chairs with
yeah.
Autumn here real fast.
And thanks, Autumn, so much.
Appreciate
you. And hang around. We'll touch base and do some fun selfie stuff before we hit the road here. But once again, Dan Nichols of Grow Studios LLC.
Dan?
What's up, brother?
Hey, man. Glad to be here.
Right.
I feel like I was just here. left.
You were. It was not that long ago.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Speaking
A
of,
couple weeks. Yeah, I don't want to tell you guys something, man. You're doing a great job. And this is just number 2, right? I mean, as far as your podcast numbers.
5.
Okay, 5. All right, but I mean, so like the
2.
first time for me was here with you guys,
2,
right?
yeah.
And you guys, at first I've been in the industry, as you know, for a while, since before you were born, man.
Yeah.
How old are you, Richard?
27.
Dang, dude, almost
27.
exactly before you were born. I've been like 28 years in
Oh,
the
wow.
business.
That was
Can you
Yeah.
imagine a baby Richard like
Yeah.
dressed
Oh, no.
dressed just like he is now?
Dang, man.
I just want to hold him.
There is that baby, big biceps.
Don't mess with that kid.
No, but you guys are doing a good job. It's funny because sometimes I think to myself, I'm just like because I've been in it right for a long time, and I'm just like, oh, it's a wedding conversation. I mean, I told you guys before, just a couple weeks out. Now it's been about a month and a half ago. I just started crying at the kitchen table. My wife's like, whoa. My daughter's like, oh, it's weird. Dad's crying. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, guys. I just miss being around people.
Yep.
I miss working a room, working an event. It's just part of who I am. It's in my DNA. It always has been. And you guys, but you're doing a good job with like the conversation and the fun and the tips and your production quality. I think that's an interesting point. Like you're adding features. Like when you did the tips thing, like I perked up from behind the, the desktop because I was like, Oh, tips. I
like those.
Everybody likes tips. You got the video tips from Rocky with his
Yeah.
professional video experience. Of course, you had Autumn on with their awesome photography experience. And then you guys as disc jockeys. So good job, man. Just
Thanks,
good job.
Dan.
Thank you, man.
Solid and like you said, man, incremental improvements, and that never ends. Perfection to me is an idea.
Right.
To me, there's one entity that has perfection, and it ain't me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the idea of perfection is just getting better and better and better. You know, like that's cool. You guys done a good job.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, man.
Let's talk about like what you got going on right now. What's like a big focus that you're focusing on with your business these days?
Yeah, I mean, so people are 4 times more likely to engage with a video than they are to read text. And look, every generation it's getting more. It'll be 5 times next year, 6 times a year after that, right? I mean, it's just happening. Video, video, video. People don't want to read, and I'm one of them. You know, at 53, I mean, I didn't grow up around video all the time like this, but like, no, like, I mean, you give me a choice between having to read an owner's manual. Are you kidding me? The first thing I do is put it in the recycling bin because I got YouTube. Why do I want an owner's manual?
Right.
And I think anytime we're selling anything, which is all of us, by the way, we're all selling something, whether we work for somebody or work for ourselves, we have to think to ourselves, where's the friction in the process? And as primates, because we're primates first, everything we do is a primal, everything we do. And that's why we miss community. That's why this COVID thing is so fatiguing to us, because we miss being around our fellow primates.
Yeah.
Period, man. And we could like, I don't need people. I don't need. No, man. I want to be near people. Like I want to touch and hug you.
Yep.
You know, like.
Yep.
And I mean, like I miss that. I just miss. And I don't even. I'm okay. Truth be told, I'm not even a hugger. It's not, but like I just mean around people, their energy.
Yeah.
You know, and I think though, with video though, like that's the closest we get in this, especially in this COVID world, to that to that whole thing of touching, feeling, energetically being around. Video is about as close as we get. And so right now, even more than ever, videos become important. But we're all in this process, though. We run into friction in the sales process. Whatever we're selling, whatever we're telling, and video can help to solve for that. And we know that, we feel it, we just innately get it. But we have a historical bias around video, and that is that we grew up with video being cartoons or television shows. And we don't really understand how to employ video as a tool to help us sell more and sell faster. You know? So it's an efficiency thing. So anyway, so I created the studio because I have personal experience. As we were laughing about earlier, I got YouTube videos that are 15 years old. Yeah. And I was going to say, you know, when I had a full head of hair, but I still got a full head of hair.
Yeah, you got great hair, man.
Yeah, just,
Lucky
my daughter on the
genetics.
point. Yeah, exactly, man. It ain't nothing else. But I've been doing video marketing for years with my businesses, and it was never anything amazing. I just yank out my iPhone and just do tours of venues and stuff like that. You were talking about that the oak tree at Black River. That thing is freaking awesome.
Rives
isn't it?
Junction.
Yeah, Rives
That's the name
Junction.
of it.
Yeah, it's
just outside of Jackson.
That's right, Rives
I was
Junction.
all the whole podcast I've been thinking, what is the name of that little town? You know,
I could have told you. I for some. Oh, you know what? I was going to tell you. It just dawned on me. I'm like, why do I get these Rive Junctions? It's because I did a video tour.
That makes sense.
so they
I
look
did-
it up on YouTube. You pop or Google. 'cause
Yeah.
it's owned by YouTube. Or
Type
vice
it
versa.
in. Type in Blackyard or Black Barn Vineyard in your Google, and you'll see my video will be one of the top search results. Again, further just saying that's what I'm saying. Using video to help you sell more and easier.
So what do you? Let's bring. So someone's listening right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter what their business is, right?
I love how I sound on this thing.
Settle down there, Dan.
But Richard's voice.
Oh,
Richard's voice is ridiculously cool, isn't it?
Thanks. Yeah,
he's got a
It's
cool
hard
voice.
for me to admit it.
Thanks, man.
What's up, baby?
What's up? Thank you, guys.
Smooth jazz.
Smooth jazz with the Michigan wedding.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
But what like there's a business owner listening right now, or you know, Etsy store owner, whatever it is. Like, what would be like? Obviously, the big picture is, you know, there's the sky's the limit of what you could do. But what would be like a little nibble that you could give them? What's like a little? Hey, let's start off. We'll make you this.
I think one thing you need to know right away is like, I don't want to shoot a nice commercial for you. Commercials to me are ridiculously stupid because they're really they're ego pieces. It's like, hey, check us out, man. Yeah, we've got this, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, get over that.
Yep.
This is, I mean, I'll give you an example. I mean, again, I'll just use an example, personal examples. The one I just shared was like, so in the buying process, a bride's first thing she does is what? It's book the venue, because you can't book your photographer, your DJ, your videographer until you book the date at the venue, right? You have nothing solid. You got to rest on that. And so the first thing that they do in that process, you know, and I kind of call it the buyer's journey before they come to me, is I got to book the date at the venue. So, what do? When I pull up to a venue that I haven't been to, I pull out my iPhone. I put my hand on my dashboard while I'm driving in. I go, here we are rolling into the Oakhurst or the Oakley or wherever I'm going, the Black Barn Vineyard. You're getting a lot of plugs, Black Barn Vineyard, Rives Junction, right? Aren't they? You're getting a lot. That's a beautiful place, though. Oh,
it deserves it.
You got to check out my video on that. All right. So when you're pulling in, I show them the drive up, right? Because bride doesn't know. A lot of our brides now are, and not so much as they were 10 years ago, but a lot of them are living in Chicago, New York, right? And then they come home for the family wedding.
Yep.
Well, they don't know. And mom's telling them, it's beautiful, it's beautiful. They're like, oh, mom's saying, I don't know. I still got to see for myself. Oh, DJ Dan, he's got a video, right?
Yep.
So as I'm driving up, I show them the curves and the turns. And here I'm getting out of the parking lot, is what it looks like to walk up. I take them into the bathrooms. I do a full video tour with nobody in the bathroom, of course, right? Because that's completely uncool.
Yeah, you told us that last time.
Yeah, I know.
That's right.
But like, so it's just the whole thing. I give them the whole process, but you got to look at your buyer's journey. Like, where are they before they come to you? You know, and if you and how can you use video for that? Like, how can I help somebody? Like, how could I help a photographer for if I'm a disc jockey? How could I help a photographer better sell?
Let's bring it back to Grow Studios.
You're doing it
though.
right now.
Let's bring it back to Grow Studios LLC. So someone listening right now that wants to hire your services, Grow Studio LLC. What can you do for them?
What can I help them get their word heard? Number one.
Specifically,
okay.
What can you make for them?
Yep. So I'll give you an example. Right now, I'm working with one where a guy he wants to open up into other markets, and they're all English, mostly English speaking, of course, in North America, right? But he wants to open up into other markets. So I'm working with him on animation videos that are multilingual. Because once you make the animation, it doesn't matter. That guy can speak, un poco. I mean, right? Yeah, he can do. All you do is dub over the animation. Yep. So you got to get creative, and all of a sudden the guy's opening up into markets that he had never been able to tap into before because of that. That's an example. I think it's easier to for me to just give you an example of something.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So animation's one.
So there's a lot of things you can do, and folks out there that are looking to broaden their commercial presence with video. Yeah. Dan Nichols with Grow Studios, man.
Thank you,
He's the man.
Thanks,
absolutely.
He's the man.
Well, thanks, Dan, and thanks, Richard. Thanks, Rocky. Autumn.
Appreciate
you.
You're the girl.
And thanks to everybody else out there for tuning in for another Michigan Wedding Podcast adventure. I'm Seth with Michael's Entertainment, your host. Had a blast and can't wait to see you next time. We'll see you later.